The Swiss town of Zofingen hosts the richest and toughest duathlon in the world, Powerman. Duathlon? Well, that's run, bike and run, and here it includes an opening run of 7.5 kilometers, followed by 150 kilometers of biking, and if that's not enough, a 30-kilometer run to finish. In all, some 187.5 kilometers through the beautiful but extremely demanding Swiss countryside. A field of over 500 athletes from 26 countries set off hoping to win some of the $120,000 prize money. This is guaranteed a world-class field, which includes American Mark Allen, whose triathlon success is second to none, and Ken Souza, the American Duathlete of the Year. The defending power woman, Paula Newby-Fraser from Zimbabwe, returns to do battle with New Zealand's Erin Baker. In recent years, these two have dominated women's endurance events. As the huge field starts to spread out through the woods, it's the American Michael Tobin, number 71, who sets the early pace for the men. In the women, it's Erin Baker, number 4, who leads the field at the end of the first of 3 laps. Tobin pushes on relentlessly and starts to build up a slender lead. By the 3rd lap, he is lapping several of the slower runners who are finding it tough on the challenging climbs and descents. The American completes the first run in 26 minutes 43 seconds, and after a swift transition, running gear off and biking gear on, it's off on the bike, nearly taking out Mark Allen in the process. Germany's Jürgen Zach, by far the quickest through the transition, closely follows Tobin out on the bike course. The running strength of Erin Baker, whose goal this year was to make the New Zealand Olympic marathon team for Barcelona, has left her nearest rivals over 2 minutes adrift as she heads out on the bike with many of the top men, including barefooted American Scott Tinley. Last year in this race, Baker was not 100% fit, but she certainly means business today. Perhaps she's gone too hard too early. The leaders head out towards the first of 3 major climbs in each of the 3 50-kilometer bike loops. American Jeff Devlin is closely followed by Switzerland's Albert Zweifel and Jürgen Zach, who moves into 2nd place. Liz Downing, the American queen of duathlon, is now chasing the leader, Erin Baker. The steep climbs start to sap the strength of everyone. The leaders press on, with the likes of New Zealand's Matt Brick, the current world duathlon champion, being hard pressed by both Ken Souza and the Canadian Frank Clark. Further back, the Canadian Puntus twins pull many of the leading women and men up the steep climbs. Patricia Puntus maintains a good climbing rhythm, but it's not long before both twins are forced to retire from the race. The Powerman course is all about strength, commitment and courage, as the fierce climbs are followed by hair-raising descents, which test the rider's nerve and bike handling skills to the limit. Jürgen Zach, who now leads the race with Jeff Devlin, shows his skill at one of the many feed stations. 2 water bottles, a drink, shower, and a banana to help him on his way. Without this constant topping up with food and fluids, the athletes would not survive the course. As Erin Baker continues to dominate the women's race, Zach completes his first lap of the bike route, receiving tremendous support from the huge crowds. But it's soon back out of the saddle and up and over the testing climbs. Devlin, Zach and Zweifel, the 42-year-old Swiss who won the World Cyclocross Championships between 76 and 79, push on relentlessly. On the final lap, Jürgen Zach makes a break, as his game plan was to have at least a 4-minute lead going into the final run, if he was to win. Local support for Albert Zweifel, as both he and Zach head back to Zofingen, to the final transition and the grueling 30-kilometer run that awaits them and the rest of the field. The race has been going for well over 4 hours, with perhaps the greatest physical and mental test still to come. 15 kilometers uphill to the turn and then back down to the finish. Albert Zweifel makes a speedy change in the transition. As Zach makes his way up through the woods towards the turn. Erin Baker enters the transition and has built up a commanding 9-minute lead over her nearest rivals. Albert Zweifel looks comfortable but is unaware that Ken Souza is closing rapidly, and it won't be too long before he's caught. Although Baker is slowing, her lead is insurmountable, and only disaster can prevent her from winning the $12,500 first prize. Zach makes the turn and heads for home, victory in his sights. Liz Downing is now clear in second place, but for Mark Allen, he'll have to be satisfied for fourth. It's not his day. Unlike Erin Baker and Germany's Jürgen Zach, who both win in new course records. Powerman for 1992 is Jürgen Zach in 6 hours 22:44, and the 1992 Power Woman is Erin Baker in 6 hours 58 and 1 second.